We are back with the Pro Football Pod. We've got the boys in the house today to talk about some Week 5 review, talk about some disturbing news that I have received earlier today that the Dolphins traded a 7th round pick for the worst receiver in football. For those of you guys that may not know, Chase Claypool, he loses games for his team with lack of effort and his ego needing to celebrate instead of worrying about winning the game. Worst receiver in football.
Bet you won't say it to his face, though.
Oh, I can't wait to say it to his face on December 24th. Whenever I'm there, I'm going to make my way to the field level so I can yell, Chase Claypool, you are a trash can. I'm going to bring a picture of the dictionary with the word trash can and his picture next to it so he knows that's what he is.
When he pops off for, 3 tutties this week, you're going to be eating your words.
He's never going to touch the field. What are your thoughts, Justin? You're also a fellow Finn fan. What do you think about...
He is not a felon.
Fellow. Well, we've all got a past, Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's very low risk, very high reward. Like, you gave up nothing to get him, and he's going to be wide receiver 4 on your depth chart. So for me, like, I have no problems with the deal, not one bit. I mean, and yes, his main thing is about apparently he's a problem in the locker room, and apparently he's got attitude issues and stuff. Well, you hope with the veteran presence in the locker rooms there, and maybe some of that, culture that they're trying to build, a la, Heat culture down there in Miami. Hopefully, fresh start, fresh place. I mean, obviously, physically, he's got the talent. So, like I said, I'm truly like, I could care less about it either way. But for me, like, there's nothing but upside out of it, because if it doesn't work out, you gave up his 6th round draft pick.
I've been telling you guys need a big body receiver, and this is the kind of guy you're looking for. He's 6'4". He can go up for the ball. Like,
I do agree.
He does jump for every ball that's thrown to him, but he goes and jumps for it.
The thing that's the biggest disappointment about Claypool is how great of a receiver he could be if he tried and didn't act like he was already Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson deserves to not have to try because he played for Jacksonville for like 5 years and was awesome for Jacksonville. So he deserves to get paid by the Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers to do nothing. Chase Claypool has done nothing. He had a couple of every game that he played in a row, but that's about all that he had.
So you trust Mike Tomlin, right? I mean, this man drafts the best receivers.
He traded away Chase Claypool for a 3rd round pick. I love Mike Tomlin.
Now that's just getting value out of him. Like,
he got a 3rd round pick for someone that was eventually traded for a 6th.
It does say something though for them trading him out, but I do believe it was a matter as well of his contract coming up. They didn't want to repay him. They have a history of guys like Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, like these dudes.
His contract wasn't coming up yet because he's still on his rookie contract right now. That's my whole issue with him. He hasn't even been in the league for 5 years. Like, he's already been traded twice. I don't.
My whole thing with it, and I'll ask you, what is the downside to the?
Okay, and you're right. Trading away a 6th and getting a 7th, like we're giving away nothing as far as true assets. We could have potentially gotten something with that, but that's irrelevant. You're right. There's no downside. He could end up turning his whole career around, and I'll eat my feet for that. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we're looking at a horrible receiver that's going to end up on our practice squad and then off of our team and never play another down for anybody again.
That's not true. So,
that's
Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin drafted him, like I was saying, and he doesn't like players who are into the media like that and doing YouTubing and vlogging and stuff. And so that's exactly why this man found his way out the door.
He let Juju do TikToks for 3 years, bro.
And that got to him. He said he's done with that. He doesn't want those players.
He bounced out of there, but nonetheless, all right. So we all agree though. High reward,
high risk,
very low risk.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So,
now,
news.
The Buffalo Bills are going to the home turf of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They actually moved their stadium all the way over to England. Pretty crazy.
Now,
Five
how
and a
much
half points they're giving the Bills, and the Bills have to travel. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been there since last week.
how much of an advantage do you give the Jags on that? With they've got to stay in London.
I think that it could still be a competitive game, but if we're being real, the Bills, not just last week, but every week except for week one, have looked like a legitimate contender, and like they're still trying to get it kickstarted. Like they're just not really there yet.
They also got some injuries from that Dolphins game. So on the defensive side, so that's going to hurt them. So it could be
Now,
like a high
are the
scoring
Bills
game
getting
if
Von
Jacksonville
Miller
could really
back this
show up.
week?
That he's traveling. He's already traveled to London. They traveled there a couple days ago, so
But is he
they
playing?
should.
That's
He
huge.
should. That's
big
what we're
news.
expecting. We're not sure yet.
If he does play, that's huge. That I think that they'll move it up to like 6.5, just because of that alone. But
For me, I think the spread is minus 5.5 because of those factors. I think if this were at the Bills home stadium, it would be more of like 8.5. And at the Jag stadium, I think it'd be more 6.5, 7.5. So I
yeah,
think they are, seeing the Jags do have an advantage of being there, but the Bills just dominated the Dolphins and they dominated the Commanders the week before. And now, I mean, we've seen that both of those defense are very suspect, and the Jets have a really good defense. And for what it's worth, Jacksonville's defense is decent. So, I mean, I don't expect too much. It's one of those early London games that are going to be weird. It's probably going to be pretty low scoring, but I think the Bills take it, and you got to start you got to start. I think you start Gabe Davis. I think you start Stephon. I think you start.
You're starting Gabe Davis. See, Gabe Davis is. I need a really good matchup. I need a defense that's just going to give it up all over the top, no safeties, like because he's too feast or famine. I mean, as a flex play, especially week 4, we were talking about it pre-show. It's rough out there, man. If you've got a bunch of bye weeks and one injury, like you're looking at starting Michael Wilson this week for the Arizona Cardinals, and you only picked him up last week in the hopes that he could grow into something. So
I don't hate the Gabe Davis start, especially with the bye week starting up. Like it's slim pickings
what
for your
about
starters now.
Ridley? Ridley really still after week 1 hasn't had a great week against that Buffalo. He doesn't have Tre'Davious White out there, but their defense is legitimate.
If you
Without
take his touchdown away last week, he
he
was
was useless.
very underwhelming. He finished. If you take his touchdown away, he would have ended up finishing with 5 points.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
are
where
you
I think
guys?
bounce back game? I like bounce back games for players like that in particular. When they have a down game like that, it's hard when Jacksonville you haven't. He's new into the system, so you're seeing him progressively get better. But like when they first started out in the season, they were feeding him, and so you want to hope to see that more.
Jacksonville, to this point, though, they haven't played a defense anywhere close to the Bills.
I mean, the Chiefs are a good defense as well.
The
They
Chiefs are
were
decent,
The
and I mean,
Bills also
it was
haven't played
17-9,
anybody
a
really
nice
that's
low-scoring game for them. But I mean, I think it's going to be a matter of, like I said, I just don't think the Jags really, in bottom line, have what it takes.
the
As
Bills
far
have
as
yet to play a defense. though.
so, but in that, you're hoping then, as far as your Calvin Ridleys and PPR purposes, your Travis Etienne's and Christian Kirk's, like they're having to stay in a shootout or come from behind, and then that's where their value comes into
Garbage
play.
time.
I think that for me, Ridley is still in every start, no matter what the matchup is. This is a horrible matchup for him, but I'm still having to start him. Kirk, not so much. Maybe a flex play, but I'm really not looking to start him. Evan Ingram has proven to be an every week starter. Like he gets fed by T Law and Trevor Lawrence. I'm terrified of this week. I think I'm actually going to start someone else instead. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Houston goes to Atlanta. Houston's got the worst run defense in football. Bijan should be a god among men in this game. We should be seeing missed tackles and open holes everywhere.
Now, you think that though, but does D'Amico, like not even thinking just how Houston's played to this point, but does D'Amico look at the Falcons and say, "Beat me with Desmond Ritter"? I will keep 8 to 9 in this box the entire game.
I think that's what their game plan is going to be, and it's going to be a really slow offensive game because Atlanta does have a legitimate defense. I think that they don't have one of the best ones in the league, but they're going to have a good time pinning their ears back and going after CJ. Everyone's trying to force this kid to make a mistake.
With them.
This is one of the games that I think he could take that step into, like, I'm not a rookie quarterback. Like, I came to the league ready to start day one, and I'm going to prove it right now. This is a team that Houston should beat in all reality, and they're not favored. Like, with all the talent they have on offense and defense, Houston's quarterback play has been so much better. They should win this game, hands down. So
it's one of my favorite bets for underdogs.
Houston is favored just because Atlanta is at home and they're only minus 1.5.
Yeah,
the pick'em game, pretty much.
True, because of the 3-point, and I feel that.
So for me, like, I think the Texans are getting a little bit of their respect, and Desmond Ridder has shown you nothing.
Nothing. I mean,
I told y'all, boys. I told you, we're not going to know what the Falcons' offense is coming into the season because we don't know what Ridder is. We don't. He's not going to be the guy.
At this point, you're just any of their receiving options are gone from your team. Even the only player that anybody should have from a Falcons uniform is Bijan Robinson. Like, that's the only fantasy player.
Literally for him put Kyle Pitts on my trade block mid-game last week.
Yeah, and someone will probably trade for him, but like that's about the best you have.
Speaking of trades, you remember what I said last week about Derrick Henry? You should trade for him. And then the man goes off.
Okay. Let's keep talking about that. I'll talk to you again next week. He's got a long season to keep that production up. Now, what about Tank Dell, Nico Collins? We saw an off week from Tank Dell last week. He didn't really pop off after everyone picked him up and everyone was starting him.
I think Nico is every week at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he's just penciled in wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, like low end wide receiver 1 in deeper leagues. But to me, he is an every week start.
So now, Ridley or Collins?
Tank and Bobby Trees, to me, it's kind of playing the matchups, and you're just hoping whichever one's the one to get fed that week.
Yeah, I haven't really seen it yet. It's just like slow. We haven't seen a big game out of him.
Well,
because
see, the first
of
2
Ridley,
weeks, Bobby Trees was getting fed like crazy. He had like 20 targets in the first 2 weeks, but then Tank Dell came on in week 3, and then it started to kind of even out a little more. But Nico is still getting his. So for me, that's why Nico's
had one down week in the first 4 weeks. He's only had one. Yeah, that's a good point. To answer your question, between Nico and Calvin, it's still always Calvin. Calvin's potential. He's a star. He has already been a star in fantasy as well as a receiver in the NFL. He's a top 10 talent guy that's sat out for a whole season. So we know that it's going to be some ramp up time. We have to start him every week until he's hurt. Like, legitimately, you took him in the second or third round. You can't not start him. He just has too much potential.
Now, for this week, I'd absolutely take Nico over Calvin.
Yeah.
For this week, yeah. Calvin versus Buffalo or Nico versus Atlanta.
It's a tough matchup, but if he's the only person that can get fed,
Atlanta's pass defense, it's nothing to sniff at. But I mean, like you just said, Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk torched them. So maybe this is the week to look at Bobby Trees, which I'm having to start Bobby Trees in the league because of injuries and bye weeks starting to pop up and stuff
it happens.
like that. So,
season started this week, boys.
We're in the season. Let's go. So
hey.
There's some value here fantasy wise. I like the Texans in this matchup, but this is one of those games where like you just kind of play the guys you have to, and then you just hope you don't have to play too many.
All right, so we've got another goodie. Carolina going to Detroit. Detroit's favored minus 9.5. Mon-Ra St. Brown is something to monitor. There's a lot of rumor that he's not playing. Like his oblique.
If he
doubtful to this point,
listed doubtful on Friday, he's not.
So here's my question: Jameson Williams' season starts now. Like we're absolutely starting him in a flex position
in my dynasty all year for this moment. And Amon-Ra is out the first game. I know.
I know.
Let's go.
Was
So
Amon Ra out
Who
the
you starting him
last whenever he had his first game of his career? Whenever he you're starting him over Amon. Hopefully, if you picked up both, I have both in one league. Because not because I thought whenever Amon's out, Jameson's going to be awesome. I just know that I want every piece of the Lions offense I can get. Jahmyr Gibbs is a great trade target right now.
Is also questionable for Sunday's
That
game.
just popped up recently.
Yeah.
It popped up with the Amon news. So now him popping up on a Friday is questionable. That's just more like you kind of said, like you just need to monitor it before the game. But
Yep.
with David Montgomery's production, it honestly kind of makes me
I don't know if I'm
iffy
playing
I want to
Jahmyr.
play.
Yeah.
Like, because he's in your running back 2, maybe not, maybe even your flex spot. Probably running back 2 where you drafted him. But to me, if you've got other options, like I'm probably looking
right.
there if I can.
I'll give you a scary option. What about Jonathan Taylor coming back for the
Jonathan
Colts?
Taylor?
I don't think
I'm not playing him. No, he's
Over
playing
Jahmyr
this
Gibbs,
week.
if he
He's at
plays?
least at practice, and he's said it to the public media that he's willing to play. So, like, all concerns of that, if he was actually hurt and they actually put him on the pup because he was actually hurt, then they might take it slow with him this week. But probably not, dude. They're probably
wanna
super
wait to see
pissed
with him.
and going to give him exactly what he asks for, every opportunity that he can. Like, that's what he
Just
wants.
Let him go.
Yeah,
let
let
him
him
go wild out there.
carry the
And
ball
so it
30
takes
times.
a little bit off
35.
of Richardson. Like you're pounding the rock with Richardson lately, and he's doing great for you. Like keeping you in every single game so far.
now.
But let's not move on too
Are you
quick.
starting any Panthers?
So I was looking at
Miles
Bryce
Sanders,
because
and
of it.
I am not starting him.
Nah, because of the injury last week, I still want to see him have a decent game before I like absolutely throw him in my lineup.
Defense is legit right now.
Yeah, they are.
And their run defense is top 5 in the league.
Adam Thielen is a start. He's a start. He's not a wide receiver too. I'd say he's a flex play, but he's going to draw too much attention from the quarterback. Like something I heard this week was that last week Panthers called a timeout because they drew up a play. They called a play that was Thielen's play. The only player on the team that could have run that route that was healthy was him, and he wasn't in, and they just realized it, so they had to call timeout so that they could get him in so that they could call the play. That's what Thielen is to this offense right now. They don't have a true number one. All these other guys were supposed to be in, and some of them are hurt, and some of them just aren't panning out. So
he's the only Panther I'm playing.
Only one. I'm not playing Jahmyr Gibbs even if he is healthy this week. Not because of the Panthers defense, but just because of his production. I want to see more from him before I start throwing him in my lineup.
This is the first game. Shit. It's kind of hard now. It moved from 10 to minus 10.5, but this is the first game that I wanted to like actually hammer the spread on because I love where
you're taking
lines are at
the
right
lines.
Now. I still want to, but like with these questionable injuries, it's tough. That's a big spread, 9.5.
Without Amon, that's big on their offense. No Amon, no Jahmyr means that David Montgomery's 30 carries doesn't get any relief. Now he might get more than 30 carries.
Still there though, and they got Jameson coming back, so and they got Josh Reynolds still, so like. And
Josh Reynolds is a sneaky.
I think maybe this is Laporta's biggest game though, honestly.
Yeah, like, Laporta is an every week start though. You have to have him in. He's a DPS play this week.
He's been progressively getting better.
DFS. I don't know what I said. Yeah, he's a DFS play this week. All right, so let's move on. Tennessee go to Indianapolis. Tennessee's favorite minus 2.5 because they have the better running back. That's what it is, Austin. They're just like the better running backs on Tennessee, so we're gonna give them the points.
A Derrick Henry, Anthony Richardson, anytime touchdown parlay.
Ooh,
that's like plus 350.
Go ahead and put that in.
That's like plus 350. That's a solid banger right there. I like that.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson, he scored a rushing touchdown in every game he's played in so far.
It's been amazing.
The one that scares me is the King Henry. But would that count if he throws it? That's a touchdown, anytime touchdown too, right?
Nope.
No, he has to run it
like
or
that.
a receiver.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it has to
I
be
don't.
He's not gonna throw another touchdown this week, dude.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I do know that. He's not Tim Tebow incarnate. Come on now. All right, Colts players. Pittman. Titans defense is tough. I don't know if I really want to play him. I mean, he's on like that. If you have to do it,
Honestly, I think
Remember that Byard injury?
I think Henry and Richardson are the only two in this game I'm looking to play.
Yeah, because
I told you,
JT, I don't
maybe
want
JT.
anything a part of. Zach Moss is no longer a starter until we know what the situation is. And if JT's a healthy scratch, play Zach Moss. But if he's going to potentially be in that game, you can't. What's he going to give you? Maybe 3 points? Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to give Zach Moss the ball. Yeah, and then no receiver for the Titans should ever get played. You do?
Yeah, I like the Titans in the game.
I think this will be a scrappy one. I think that it could come down to quarterback play, and if the Colts with JT and AR are just this unstoppable force, and they're just getting first downs and getting down the field, then I think that the Colts will win it. I think that their offense could be more efficient, even though they have a rookie, because of Tannehill. Like, as soon as Tannehill is in charge of making a decision with the ball, I assume it's going to be a failed decision.
So that man, Matthew Stafford, after playing AR-15, AR-5 now, and them Colts, he said that man is a different type of dude. He has not seen that type of caliber of athlete on the field in the NFL in a long time. So, like,
I mean, he's more athletic
seeing
than
him
Lamar.
in person, like, we get to see him on,
as far
on
as size.
TV, and we do want to go to see him in person in a live game against the Carolina Panthers. But, like, this dude looks like the real deal, and he's out there performing. We see it each week. Like, we keep talking about these games like they're so close.
Now, biggest spread we've seen so far, 11.5 for the Dolphins in Miami versus the Giants. I think that that's more disrespect on the Giants than it is respect for the Dolphins. Obviously, everyone's respecting that our offense is pretty unstoppable.
What's respect got to do with this game? Giants suck.
Yeah, I feel
the spread in this game started at minus 10.5, and it's worked its way down because, like,
this is my second
that's
big
the
hammer.
thing. The Giants have straight up, like, allowed how many 110 points at this point in the season, if not more. It's insane. And I mean, if we're just going, just looking at PFF grades, for as bad as the Dolphins' defense has looked, they're still top 12. They have the number 1 overall offense. Like,
and you're gonna get better.
Giants have a bottom 3 defense and a bottom 10 offense. Like, for
and there's
me,
no progression coming out of that.
This should be an absolute, after the Bills game, this should be an absolute bounce back week for the Dolphins. They should probably put up another 50 points again.
I'm looking. This is the game that I'm looking to push that spread of 11.5 and, like, go to, like, 14.5, some shit.
Yeah, because, get the plus money on it.
You know what I'm saying? Dolphins have proven that they can do that. This is, for fantasy wise, Chan is probably one of my favorite plays. Chan is one of my favorite plays this week. I think he has a great week. He's shown that he can run the rock better than most people in the league. Like, he's a top 3 running back if you actually use him like that.
Yeah, he's put himself in every week flex spot until the foreseeable future, until things change. If not running back 2,
I think RB2.
He's running like Christian McCaffrey. I really like to RB2. Analyze football and running backs and
he reminds me so
every
much
position.
Of Darren
but, like, he's bigger than that though. He's not Darren Sproles, bro. He's a shorter AP. Is what I look at it as.
Saquon. Do we think that Saquon's playing this week?
As a Saquon owner, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same. If he plays, yes, the Dolphins are minus 20, 24th against the run, like, for running backs. So this
is one of those games to where, the Dolphins suck versus the run, but also Saquon could easily come out of this game with 8 receptions.
And the other thing is Darren Waller, you have to play him. The Dolphins have been so bad against tight ends for the past, like, 3 years. Our defense is never able to cover him. Our linebackers suck. So you have to play Darren Waller. Even though he's disappointed you every single week so far this season, and it looks like you taking him in the 5th or 6th round was just a horrible decision. It was. But you have to take him this week. You have to. Exactly.
Right. The thing is the odds are you probably don't have a backup tight end.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, you don't have a backup tight end.
At this point, you've definitely picked up a streamer option. Logan Thomas is a great one this week. There's options. It was, yeah.
Look, I looked at him in my Dynasty League because I've got Pitts and Jake Ferguson, And I sat there and stared at Logan Thomas all week, but I just
Ferguson,
hate
baby.
Thursday
Ferguson.
night so
Conklin
Dak-
is
Dak-
a good streamer as well because he's playing against Denver. He's gonna have a
It's not a-
really good
I'm
matchup.
excited to get
Has he
into
been
that game. We'll
popping
get
though?
into
I
that
haven't
game.
seen Conklin catching passes. I don't know if I haven't been paying enough attention to the Jets. But
Obviously,
I like
you're starting
Ferguson better than all
Tyreek,
those
Waddle,
guys.
Mostert,
Yep, and Achan.
Tua.
You're
Tua
pretty
to
much
me
starting
is
the
a
whole
top
Dolphins
five
offense
starter.
for the rest of the season. Doesn't matter
What's the deal with
matchup.
Waddle though? Like like people are kind of like that's a trade target. Like
That's because he hasn't been getting many catches, and they know that he's going to have 100 catches for 1,200 yards. No problem.
He's a buy low target right now for sure,
Yeah.
but the smart people aren't going to sell him low.
Nope. The ones that know, they're never going to give him up.
I
So
have the hardest time trading.
You're one ankle injury away from Tyreek, God forbid, from Waddle becoming the number one option.
I have the
On a
hardest
great
time
offense.
trading because I pick up players like Waddle and like I know what they're capable of, so I'm not trading them away. Like
yeah,
I know
Waddle,
what they can do to my team
every
in the
week
future.
he's been healthy. He's been starting for me. Like
It's just scary though.
He can go off for
I'm
24 points and a half, like nothing.
Now, on the opposite stance, Pittsburgh playing Baltimore in Pittsburgh. Baltimore's favored minus 4.5. Are you playing anybody besides Mark Andrews in this game?
Lamar Jackson.
Obviously,
Lamar's
I guess.
obvious.
Yeah, that's
Lamar's
obvious.
an obvious.
But like, are you playing Pickens
Yeah,
against Baltimore? Against Baltimore,
dude, this is their only receiver right now. Like with Deontay Johnson,
the over/under on this game is 38 right now. It's 38.
Yeah, like, it'll probably scratch that.
I'll tell you, I don't like Najee this week.
No, that's a must sit.
I don't like Najee
out of our
this
must
week.
sits.
I don't like Gus Edwards this week. There's not many people in this matchup other than Lamar and Mark Andrews that I do like. Pickens, where you drafted him, and just because, like Austin said, he's really their only like threat. You're probably putting him in your flex spot. Calvin Austin in a deep league would be a sneaky streaming flex, but that's desperate times.
Desperate times,
man. You know who the quarterback is, right?
This is one of those games, though.
We don't know. Pickett has already said that he's playing. We'll see. But I don't think he's going to play. But he's already said, I'm damn playing. Well, he has to.
In 17-13.
Like, dude, it could end up 9-12. Like, I'm not excited about this. I hope Mark Andrews, you have to play.
Take those words back. This is a great game. This is one of the best games on the slate.
Fantasy-wise?
Yeah, I meant fantasy-wise. That's what I'm talking about.
I hate this game.
Yeah, no, obviously most
Lamar
fantasy
Jackson anytime
divisional
touchdown,
matchups
Mark
are terrible.
Andrews anytime touchdown, sneaky value play, Darnell Washington anytime touchdown with the Moose being out.
I love that one. Moose out, baby. So definitely a Darnell.
All right, we are about halfway through, so a little over halfway, so let's keep it going. New Orleans goes to New England. I think that we could just take everything I said about the last game and then just add it to this game. It's going to be a defensive fest. If I have New Orleans or the Patriots defense, playing both. I'll put one of them in my flex. I don't care. You have to play Olave. Olave actually has a decent matchup, but he's the only person. Well, all right. I feel that too. You at this point with what he did last week, you're playing Kamara every week. It's
Kamara.
So who's the
he just got
this
fed
for the Saints?
I don't know. I hope it's Jameis though, because he just came in and threw one up right away, just like, "Hey, Olave, catch this!
Here.
I'm here. Don't worry, I got a
can't
candle."
see after that surgery though.
No,
can't see shit.
Good value plays betting wise on this one is anytime touchdown for either the Saints or the Patriots defenses.
No,
and also
that
Mac Jones to throw an interception. Go ahead and throw a little bit of cash on that as well.
Yeah, make some money for your money.
On the defensive touchdown, going back to the Houston-Atlanta game, I like Houston anytime touchdown because of Ritter being the quarterback. Yeah. I think he's going to throw a pick six this week.
So game-wise, going back to the last one real quick.
Is Ramondre...
Baltimore, I like Baltimore. This game...
Yeah.
New England at home, I'm going to give them the edge on this, but this is a game I just stay away from completely.
I think we
I
end up
like this
seeing
game.
Bailey Zappi earlier than we did last week if Mac Jones like legitimately looks bad. Like if he
there's no injury aspects.
yeah,
They're
not
just
injury.
gonna pull him.
I think so. I mean, they were starting to do it last year, and Bill's not going to play around with like mistake-heavy football, losing him games. Like he needs you to play mistake-free, and then his defense will squeeze out the opponent until they make a mistake. Like that's just how he wins. Hot
Dude,
take.
I think you're forgetting about the Saints defense and how they've been playing.
Well, that's what I mean.
With
That's
this
why
being
we
at
think
one
this is
point,
going to be.
I'm actually really in love with the Saints this week. Like
I feel like the score to this game could end up 2-4,
underdog.
like straight up.
Come on, bro.
2-4.
Like the Saints
don't
have
like
shown
this
that they
game
have
at
an
all.
offense and they can score.
Maybe,
The
dude.
Patriots
New
haven't
England
shown
still
that.
have that defense, and trust me, Chris Olave. As much as we're
Judon's
telling you
out.
to start
This
him,
will be the lowest
Judon's
rated
out.
game
That's their
on the
defense.
slate in the 1 o'clock hour. This will be the lowest rated game.
yeah.
There's
I'm
no
excited for this
rivalry
one, boys.
aspect
I'm
to
Almost
this
as-
game. There's no
I'm really excited
storyline
for this
to
I
one.
don't know.
game.
I feel
This
like the
game
next game at the
is a
4. Oh well,
blowout.
I guess this isn't an early game. The first of the 4 o'clock games, and I think that this one might be the lowest rated of all of them. Cincinnati, Arizona. Nobody wants to watch Cincinnati play football anymore until Joe
I don't
Burrow
know.
shows that
People
he's
wanna
healthy.
watch- people are. I'll tune in for Josh
Dobbs.
Dobbs.
I'll
Yo.
watch Josh Dobbs.
No,
I'm
Josh
not saying,
Dobbs is electric.
but like I
I'm
might,
having
I
to start
want
Josh
to
Dobbs
not.
in a league this week because Herbert's out.
You draft properly.
Come on, dog.
I just
Josh
should have
Dobbs-
drafted a quarterback.
You should have drafted Anthony Richardson as your secondary quarterback. Come on.
Who
now.
drafts backup quarterbacks, dude?
I
It's a
do.
onesie position.
So,
You
All right.
never know when they're going to go back.
But-
Go out.
yeah,
Then you get a streamer.
Dobbs.
It's quarterback.
a sneaky streamer that I'm also playing in a deep league this week, Michael Wilson. Josh
Who is
Dobbs.
this guy?
Josh Dobbs has a perfect completion percentage.
It's the
when
number one
targeting the
receiver
rookie.
for Arizona.
He's a rookie wide receiver.
Dude,
for
he's
him this
6'2",
year.
6'3".
He just went off
He's
for-
fast.
He's the guy.
He
He
looks
just went off
good,
for
bro.
2 tutties last week. He's been getting more and more targets each week, becoming a focal point of the offense. And rumors came out earlier today as well, where the Panthers are trying to snag a number 1 target for Bryce Young. Marquise Brown's name has been brought up because the Cardinals are
not the guy
clearly
for him.
tanking, trying to get rid of assets, trying to get money off the books.
And that would be
So-
huge for Michael Wilson
It
if
would
you've
be
already
huge
picked
for
him
him
up.
and
If he's on your
Rondale Moore,
waiver,
like,
he's worth
so-
picking up right now. If he's on
Where's
your
Michael Wilson
free
out
agent
of?
list. Ari-
You know?
Oh, it's college?
No, what college?
I don't. The pro football pod, dude. Come on.
Well, no, I like to know where they're from in college, man. It makes a difference.
Where did Michael Wilson go to college?
I
So-
want to say it was a Texas team or something. He was a decent school, but not like a factory.
I like the Bengals in this matchup. I think they're going to finally get it together. The -3 is against the Arizona Cardinals. This is what I'm waiting for.
Arizona's been playing
caliber
teams
team.
tough, real tough, man.
They really have because they have a decent defense, and that's why they
Mm-hmm.
got rid of Simmons. But I think that the Bengals get it together this week. Joe Burrow said he's been feeling
All right,
better than he's
Austin,
ever been feeling.
For a
Jamar Chase
profile
anytime
on you,
tutty.
Michael Wilson is a 6'2", 213-pound wide receiver out of the University of Stanford.
Let's go.
Stanford.
He's
Ran
smart.
4.58
He's smart.
at the combine, so he's got decent speed for you there at his size.
It's
But
a
yeah,
possession guy. He looks
yeah,
like you
he
put it
looks
near him,
really
he's a
good.
vacuum.
He looks really good. Josh Dobbs is obviously starting
Sucks
to
it all
trust
up.
him. So he's not obviously, let me just throw him in my starting lineup. But as you know,
That's
with
a
bye weeks
flex
coming
play
up, I
deep
do
in
like him
leagues.
as a sneaky flex play for you there.
It's
Now,
a name
for
that
the
I haven't. I
Bengals,
don't know.
You're having to start Jamar Chase because of where you drafted him. T. Higgins is most likely going to be out. He's still listed as questionable, which is just beyond me. But I mean, are you starting Burrow?
No.
You have to because of where you drafted him.
No, you don't. No, you don't. He's a
Speaking of
quarterback.
guy who's
Austin, he's a quarterback.
starting
I
Josh
would rather
Dobbs.
pick up and start Josh Dobbs in this game than have to play Burrow in this game. Burrow's hit
tripping.
the point to where I need to see it again.
Yep.
As soon as I get one
It's
game where you
injury.
show it
You've
to
got to
me again,
remember.
one game, you're back in and I won't take you out again. But I need one game.
He's
I
hurt.
can't afford to
He-
keep putting you out there
and-
because you're
and
taking
we don't
L's
know-
most likely every week.
We don't
because
know
of
if
Joe
he
Burrow.
We don't know if he's 80%, if he's 70%, 60%. He said he's good to go this week. He's been saying he's good to go since the beginning of the season. We can't trust anything that the players say. They always say that they're good to go. So until we see that he's 80%, that he's able to stand in the pocket and make throws and make decisions and do all the things that he was doing that brought him to 2 back-to-back AFC Championship games, I'm not going to play him. I didn't draft him because of the injury. But at this point, if you did, you have to bite the bullet. You have to get a streamer. You have to have a backup quarterback. You have to do something because Joe Burrow is not an option. Not every week, or else you're just giving up on the season. You're just going to tank it all because Joe Burrow screwed you, and that's a horrible decision whenever there are guys out there. Zach Wilson, we'll talk about it when we talk about the game. He's an actual solid pickup this week. I know Chris Collinsworth couldn't get his penis out of his mouth the whole time talking about how perfect he was, and that pissed me off because I hate him. But Zach Wilson did look good. He looked like a good quarterback. Chris Collinsworth finally said something that wasn't wrong for the first time in his whole career. So if you have Joe Burrow and Zach Wilson is sitting on your waiver wire about to play the worst defense in football against the quarterback, play Zach Wilson. Just bite the bullet.
Yeah. So for you viewers out there, don't listen to Coach. Please start Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and keep it rolling because they're gonna pop off. They played 4 tough defenses. Okay, so don't even come at me with that.
And we've already said that the Cardinals do have a good defense, that's one of their traits. Look at what they just did to the Cowboys. They played every team tough.
Don't you put that in your mouth.
And the Bengals...
I told you why the Cowboys lost. We had 4 out of 5 offensive linemen out.
The Cardinals have the 31st ranked defense, so I'm not just throwing that out.
You're talking about PFF numbers. I'm talking about like what they've been doing. They've been...
I agree. They've looked solid. Obviously, I mean, the Dallas game was a one-off, but they shut down the offense.
So listen to this though: 2 divisional matchups, and then
the talent's there. But are you picking the Cardinals to win this game?
No, I got Bengals -3. I'll throw $50.
Oh, you're asking me if I'm picking the Cardinals?
I don't want to start Joe Burrow, but I also can't pick the Cardinals with a full heart.
I don't think the Cardinals are going to win. I think that I'd take them at +3.
You're crazy. You're wearing the red, so take them. Put your money on it.
Go
50 for 50 with me right now.
I'll be waiting.
I'm good.
I'll give you the 3 points.
I'm good. All right, so Philadelphia goes to Los Angeles, -4.5 for Philly. LA looks like it might have Cooper Kupp back. What do you guys think about Puka?
I think Puka, you sit him.
Have to, right? You have to start him.
I think you
have to.
With Cooper coming
There's
back.
no way you're saying
have
that
to.
seriously.
There's no way you don't have another receiver to start. There's no way you don't have another receiver to start.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Hold on. So Puka is going to go from 13 to 15 targets a game to just
less than 8.
Irrelevant.
To less than 8.
Has Tutu been doing anything?
So here's the thing, Austin. Tutu plays out of the slot, which is exactly where Cooper Kupp plays 60% of his snaps. That's why Puka Nacua is going to be fine, because him and Cooper are going to be on the field all the time time. He's going to be at the 2.
Flex play, but like
bro.
I know that people have been starting
for the rest of the season.
Too, like,
I mean, for the next 3 weeks,
rest of the
or next 2 weeks.
Wait until
next 2 weeks. You're right. I pulled back. Next 2 weeks, I'm starting Puka though.
For what he's done the first, a couple things. First point, for what he's done the first 4 weeks, there's no way you can immediately just throw him on your bench because Cooper Kupp's coming back. Number 2, for as much as you were just banging the table about Joe Burrow having to be a must start this week for what he's shown you all year, there's no way you can have that mindset, but then also say, "Oh, I'm benching Puka because Cooper's coming back and he's just gonna get 3 catches for 27 yards this week." Like,
very possible.
No,
it's not going to happen. I get that he didn't have many touchdowns. That's the knock on him.
I could see Kupp getting eased in this week because Puka has shown he can carry the load for you.
And Kyron Williams has done so well.
I wouldn't be
Is he 100% healthy?
them both finish the game with
Cooper
8
probably
catches
not.
apiece.
No,
Matt Stafford is that type of quarterback where if you're his guy, he will target you all the time.
Yep.
And so he's finally got 2 of those guys. He's
for the
been
first time
trying
in his
with
whole
Van
career
Jefferson to get him there. He did it with he tried his best. Well, no, I guess Bobby Trees was out before. No, Bobby Trees was there because he won the Super Bowl with them.
Yeah.
But
Which was why Bobby
looked
Trees
great
looked
with them.
amazing that year.
Looked great with them until he got hurt.
Yep.
And so they've been looking for that second guy to go with Cup. So you absolutely have to start Puka this week. You do not bench him. I don't know. I would be more skeptical about actually starting Cup.
Yes. Because of them the same thing with Christian Watson last week on Thursday. Having that pitch count where he only made it on 46% of routes run. The Eagles are a tough defense.
Tough defense, bro. Now, I don't know. They might want him, let's just keep everything short. Look at, everything 10 yards and in. Let's just catch the ball and go down type of thing, because that pass rush is going to be on Matt Stafford. So he's going to have to get rid of it quick. But for me, Cup scares me way more than Puka does this week.
You still start him. If he plays, you still start him.
Yeah.
Right? You took him in the first round, and he sat for 4 weeks.
Eagles, you're still starting. I think you're still starting all of them. I think you're starting Swift, Hurts, Brown, and Smith. You're starting all of your Eagles.
What about Goddard? Are you terrified off of Goddard at this point, or are you still sticking with it?
I think you have other options.
I don't think he's entered Pitt's category yet, to where
he
you're
hasn't.
completely panicking off
because
of him.
He's still getting his looks in the offense ish.
Well, also in a game like this, to where you have Aaron Donald coming down your neck. Now, the Eagles have one of the top 3 O-lines in the entire league, so that is going to help offset a little bit. But I think, as well as what I said about Stafford, Hurts is also going to be looking to get that ball out quick. I think Hurts over his rushing yards is a really good prop for you this week, because he's going to be all over the place. But
he hasn't really had to yet.
For me, I think Goddard is a good play for you.
I definitely like the Rams in this matchup. I think this is the Eagles' first loss of the season.
That's not a good call. That's not a bad call. Upset alert.
I do like the Rams because they've looked solid.
Especially
they look like
they have
a little bit better than the Bucs.
They're getting that nice little +4.
So
I'm the Rams on the spread, nice little +4 on that though.
4.5 right now.
Lose by a last-second field goal, you still cover that.
Yeah, and which
I love that.
Just did last week to the Washington.
I do like them as a sneaky upset.
Commanders.
Now, the Chiefs get to go to Minnesota before the sun goes down, so we get to see a real Kirk Cousins. He's not going to disappear for the first half. I guess the sun goes down after. Yeah, so hopefully Jefferson gets his. In all reality, Jefferson's going to get 10 points in the fourth quarter in this game, because they're going to be down, because the Chiefs are they're elite. They're elite and they're pissed. Oh, dude, everyone's been talking so much.
Ass last week. Kelsey looked like ass. I'm telling you, this.
You think T Swift shows up to this game?
I don't think she.
This is a good one for her to show up to, though.
I don't think she shows up to Minnesota. I think honestly, this is the week she needs to take a step back, because it's just all been a little nuts.
It's been up too much about her.
If she shows up again, then it's just all right, what are we doing at this point? But for me, Mahomes, I think this is the week. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kelsey's going to have over 75 yards and a touchdown. I think those two absolutely go out to look to crush this just trash bag of a Vikings defense.
What about Pacheco? Pacheco's an automatic start this week as well.
Too hard to never start.
I like that, Austin.
Last week, picking him up and putting him down.
Well,
dude, he just gritty.
One play, he can get you 12 points.
Yep,
literally.
He's guys with that ability and with as many touches as he gets, you have to play him. Now, hopefully he's not your RB1, but I've got him starting in a couple leagues as a RB2.
Yeah, he's a solid RB2 flex player this week. I like the Chiefs minus the 3.5. Madison's tough with Cam. Cam got 7 points last week, so he's inching his way into this backfield. It's tough. The Kansas City hasn't really shown that they can stop running backs, completely. But
I'm saying no.
It's tough with.
I'm saying no.
In the offense
I don't.
Total,
it's not that he's not going to get a touchdown potentially, but that's not something that looks like there's going to be many of them going around in Minnesota, just in general. So I'm thinking no on this one. As far as Minnesota players, like TJ Hawkinson, obviously, and Justin Jefferson, obviously. Addison, this week, no. I'm definitely. I'm just not enough. He's too boomer bust. If he gets a big play, he's going to be totally worth it. But I can't rely on boomer bust.
Hold him. All right. So this man popped off for the first 3 weeks. He had 1 week of a total.
He didn't pop off. He
popped for over.
He doesn't get enough targets. But we're looking at points, not
14,
targets.
14, like 15, 15.
Now, but where you are saying where you project the Vikings to be in a shootout or at least trailing most of this game.
Yeah,
I do like Addison's value this week as a flex play because of I don't think the Vikings are really going to be able to run very well on the Chiefs, and I don't think they're going to get the opportunity to.
I don't think they're going to be able to pass very well either. I think that the pass rush is going to be real. The Minnesota Vikings offensive line is Swiss cheese. So I think that that's where the real matchup lies, not in the secondary, but in the pass rush. Kirk's going to have no time to get it to Addison, even if he's wide open every play. At least JJ can be open in 10 or 15 yards. Addison shows that he's break the top off, and like that's really where he's getting his value in this offense as of right now. We only have 3 more to cover. I think that the bells should be going off whenever you see that you have a team playing against Denver. At this point, like Breece Hall is a start this week. Is a flex play potentially. I'm not putting him as an RB2, but if like I need somebody,
hold on. Let me stop you guys for a second.
Dude, like the Denver defense is so bad. So bad.
Literally just had me drop Breece Hall last week.
That was a good call.
So how am I going to start him if he's off my team?
Call me crazy.
The fuck?
But I think because it is the Broncos and for how terrible they've shown their defense to be, I think Zach Wilson is a solid play. Garrett Wilson, you're absolutely starting.
Have to. Second round pick.
I agree with Breece Hall. I agree with Tyler Conklin being a really solid streamer. I actually like CJ Uzoma as a sneaky anytime touchdown play. But I like Alan Lazard as well as a sneaky flex play this week. Like
he hasn't done much.
He's available on your waiver wire right now, guaranteed.
Solid week for him last week.
He made some big plays last week, dude. Those catches that he was making, like he looked like a big receiver.
Solid bet for him, like for me. And again, it is the Broncos.
If the ghost of Aaron Rodgers shows up again, I think that we're going to see the Jets team perform again.
Not only that, but the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett and just that entire Jets team, they are coming for
storyline.
Blood.
Storyline
For blood.
They want nothing more than to put 70 points on Sean Payton's face in this game.
Yep.
But also, where it is Sean Payton and he's the offensive mind, the Jets defense is a really solid. They're going to be looking to just pop heads and just create turnovers.
Yeah.
I like the Jets, but also I think Russell Wilson might be a sneaky play this week.
I am still pretty far off of any receiver for the Broncos. Like, I don't want to play Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, and then Marvin Mims and Brandon Joseph. Yeah. And then this Jaleel guy, he's a 4.5 speed running back that had a decent outing last week, but I'm definitely not playing him against the Jets. Nope. Like, I picked them up to wait and see, and I'm not going to even wait and see on this week. I'm going to wait and see on next week, because this week is a horrible matchup for any offense, dude. The Jets defense is legit. If Aaron Rodgers was there, this team would be disgusting.
The Jets defense is legit, and the Broncos offense has shown you nothing that
except for garbage time. Yeah,
so
exactly.
We've been running this fantasy league on this podcast live every week now. Y'all had me pick up Javonte Williams and drop Breece Hall. So would you say this week now I drop Javonte Williams and pick up Breece Hall?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane. You guys are fucking insane to me.
That's exactly what you should do. That's the perfect play.
This is crazy. This is insane.
Austin, this is okay. Austin, this is what streaming players looks like. It's about making the right decision on the guy that nobody else sees any value on.
I didn't play Javonte. I played Atchain. So
good.
So let's break it down though. We got Atchain. We got Jameer Gibbs. Whatever. That guy. Jameer Gibbs and Achan. And we got Javonte Williams and we could pick up Brees Hall, and I also have Addison. So do you think I drop Addison
No.
and pick up Brees Hall and have both Javonte and Brees
No.
Hall
Why do you
to
want
work with the rest of the
Javonte?
season?
Why do you want Javonte right now? He's not even
Well,
playing
last
this
week you guys told me to freaking pick him up.
He's not even
because
playing
of the
right now. He's
potential,
hurt.
and then he got hurt in the first quarter. That's
Yeah,
life. That's how it happens sometimes, man.
Absolutely.
I hate you guys. I hate you.
You didn't do anything. You
that's
didn't
the
even
move.
start
I'm
him.
doing it right now. That's the move.
Good.
Brees
Do
Hall
it
for
live. Do it
Javonte.
live.
I like
All
the
right.
Jet in this game.
But
on
I
the
mentioned
money line
I
being
mentioned Jordan.
underdogs. I like the Jets being underdogs on the money line. I like the Jets spread in this game. I like the Jets overall in this game, like all over. It's hurting my soul to say that, but the
I know
Broncos are
so
just
much,
bad.
dude.
The
I
Broncos
wanted
are
to
just
hate on
so
them.
bad, bro. And
I
not only
wanted
that,
to-
though, with all the mess that Sean Payton like spewed out of his mouth and shit, like it's just I want to see nothing more than just Bob Solid just shut his ass up and then
Yep.
just be super humble about it after the game.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
going to
what?
be my favorite part.
We got our job done. Let's go.
So, game of the
But
week.
you know, in the locker room, he's gonna be fuck those motherfuckers.
So,
Sorry,
game of the
Gabe.
week. Potential
Yes.
NFC Championship game this year. Dallas Cowboys at San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. If the 49ers keep on the way that they keep on and they win this game, there's a big chance that if these teams play in the playoffs, they're going to have to play in San Francisco again. I think this game is huge for Dallas to be able to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Like, they have to win this game. Every other game can be circled on the calendar, doesn't matter. This is the one that matters.
Well,
So,
they've also got 2 games against Philly still coming up, but I'm with you. Like
number one and
those-
number two
those
defenses
Philly
in
games
football.
and this game right here,
Yeah.
those are the 3. Like I agree because, and also I mean, looking at the 49ers, if they get this game, they have the Vikings, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Seahawks before they play the Eagles on December 3rd.
I'm not looking at many losses. They play really smart football. Christian McCaffrey is going to try to break Jerry Rice's record this week by scoring another touchdown. I was wrong. Last week he just tied it. And then he got 4 on the day because he said, F that, I'm going to go for more. I think anytime touchdown for Christian McCaffrey is a... I mean, if it's
point,
not
it's
minus
literally
1,000...
it's like minus 300 at this point.
Yeah, if it's not minus 1,000, we're going for it.
Last week it was minus
175.
250. It's
That's not making money.
It's because of Dallas. It's because of Dallas.
That means 50 wins 28. So
Yeah, we understand.
But,
So, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Dak. Are you playing Dak?
no,
No.
I'm not playing Dak. Honestly, I hate that if I have Tony Pollard, I hate that I have Tony Pollard because I have to start him this week.
Yep.
Because of where you drafted him, you don't have a better replacement.
You don't?
But I don't want to start him. Now, CD, I think CD's fine.
I think he's going to be
CD will
fine.
Still get his. I think CD.
And not because the San Francisco defense, like their defensive backs aren't good, because they are, and they have Fred Warner, who's one of the best coverage linebackers in football. It's just that CeeDee Lamb is the only way that the Dallas Cowboys win this game. And I think he knows that, and I think that Dallas is going to make sure that he gets the ball, even if they lose, just because that's the only way.
I like on the other side. I like Brandon Ayuk a lot in this game as well.
With Amon-Ra sitting out
for him.
For the wide receiver room in my dynasty, I'm playing Brandon Ayuk this week. Debo, I guess, was a little bit banged up last week, and kind of still stayed in.
Plan.
Yeah, but he still like was in as more like a decoy for Christian McCaffrey a lot of time. Like, so
well, also Debo at 70% is probably much better than the 4th or 5th guy they have on the roster. So yeah, you're gonna put him in there, and he's a dog, so he's gonna want to play. But I think you look at a much better outing for him this week. I think this is a week where you see a lot of Shanahan in his bag versus that defense and trying to cancel out Micah Parsons. Now, monitor Micah, though, because he got that ankle injury in the game last week. Now, he ended up playing through it, and he only sat out 5 plays, but that's still something where, I think they're going to try to go at Micah, similar to what the Cardinals did, and they're just going to neutralize that pass rush.
So you definitely want to hammer like Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel receiving yards, they're overs because the 49ers are going to be down in this game. So you definitely want to
I
handle
love
that.
you, Austin. You're such a
But
homer. I love you. I think that this
Cowboys have
game,
this game in the
49ers at
bag,
home.
bro.
for the 49ers, their whole season has ridden on Christian McCaffrey's back. I think that this is one of the first games that we're going to see Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was flawless last week, but Christian McCaffrey was 4 touchdowns and just like put on a show. I think that this is the game that Brock Purdy is going to have to show his stuff. If he makes mistakes because of that defense, the 49ers could very well, like Austin said, be behind. But that's the only way that I see them losing this game is if Purdy isn't perfect. If he plays a perfect game.
Let me break this down to y'all boys. Because I mean, you know football, right? So Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Giants, and the Cardinals are the 4 teams that this team has beaten.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that they're really, looked at as like the number 1 team in the NFC is kind of crazy and shit. To think that this quarterback is the real deal. Like Christian's played bad defenses, terrible defenses. So he's popping off, but like I think this is a week that the 49ers really see what they're made of. And
Agreed.
same with the Cowboys too. Like I'm not
it's
like
been more
all in on the Cowboys,
yes,
but I
I
do think
agree.
that they have this one.
I agree. They haven't really played much competition to this point, but it's also been the way they've won the games to where it's almost been flawless, mistake-free football, just methodical drives, ball going down the field the way it should.
Like, how do you
just
stop them based off of what you're
8,
watching?
9, 10 play drives for getting points on the board virtually every time
Terrible
they drive.
defenses.
They've scored 30 points or more in every game that they've played.
You
The
just said the
Steelers,
Rams are a terrible
Steelers,
defense.
for
They're
all
not
that
terrible.
it's said, they're not terrible. The Steelers defense isn't terrible. The
The
Rams
Steelers defense is top 5 in a lot of categories.
Now, yes, the Giants defense and the Cardinals defense, they're ass, and they
Yeah.
showed it. 30-12 and 35-16. Like they did what they were supposed to. And I do agree. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. And I think, to this point, if anybody is going to beat the 49ers, it would be the Cowboys.
Agreed.
But you're giving me the 49ers at home on Sunday Night Football. I'm going with the 40. I got to take the 49ers.
If La'el Collins plays, I like the Cowboys here. But if he's not, then
Is La'el Collins back on the Cowboys?
Tyron Smith, sorry. Yeah, I messed that one up. Big boy.
Now, an even better matchup that we get for Monday night, Green Bay.
I hate we end the game on this.
I know. Green Bay at Las
This
Vegas.
is a solid
If
matchup.
I do think if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, the Jets Broncos game would have been flexed to Monday night. I don't know if flexing is available yet in the schedule, but I really think they would have tried their damnedest to be able to do that.
Yeah,
but Aaron
that's a
Rodgers
good call.
getting hurt.
Yeah.
What can we do? So I like the Packers in this game. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. I don't care if Jimmy G's playing, Aiden O'Connell, whatever.
These defenses have had some holes. Are you playing Josh Jacobs?
Yes. He's been doing solid all year. I mean, for the most part.
He hasn't looked like last year.
Weeks.
He's looked like a top 15 running back.
Where you drafted him, though. Like, there's not many other guys you can really start over him.
I agree. You
like
got to take him a round or two after Pollard just because of all the questions behind him.
Now,
and like he's almost on that level.
What David Montgomery just did to this Packers defense.
True. Very true.
I think
But that was with 35 carries, man. Jacobs has been an efficiency guy, and he hasn't been efficient this year. I'm not starting him. I think that he's the only Raider that's... Well, Devontae Adams, obviously. He's an every week start. But is Devontae playing in this game? I know he got banged up.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything where he shouldn't.
Okay. As far as Packers, though, I think this is a little bit more interesting. Dobbs and Watson. What do you guys think about that?
I like Watson.
I like Watson as this being a game to where
not
he's able
starter
to
because of where I've drafted people, but like he's definitely someone I'm still keeping my eye on.
So are you putting him in your flex? I mean, you got a couple
flex play depending on buys and injuries. Yeah. Because this is the game to where you're hoping it's kind of like hey, let's go ahead and try to get you more.
I definitely see him getting a touchdown. Like I definitely feel like he's gonna have a solid game.
What about Dobbs?
He got a touchdown last week.
Yeah, but he only had 2 catches and he only played the
he
first
only
half.
had the 2, and it was his first week back. So I think
I
he'll
like
get like
Dubs.
6.
I mean, I've seen Jaron Reed
4 or 5
popping up in
receptions.
places as like a sneaky streaming like flex pick, but for me, I don't see this game being as explosive offensively for really that to come into play.
Dubs,
So,
if only Christian
I do
is
like
hurt.
Jordan Love this week.
I like Jordan Love. I'm starting him this week. I think that Dubs has shown us that he's not an every week matchup proof starter, but he's a flex play for sure. He got so many targets at the end of that last game.
Streamer.
Watson has never been the heavy target guy. He always, all last year, was a big play guy. That's why he didn't do anything until the second half of the season. Whereas Romeo was looking like a possession, give me the targets type of guy, which is exactly what I target in fantasy. He reminds me of Chris Godwin. He's not going to put up 30 points because he gets 2 big long touchdowns, but he could easily get 10 catches for 60 yards. And that's all I need from a player like that. I mean, that's more than enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the Packers in this game. Other than
Aaron Jones, if he
Devontae.
starts, have to play him.
Yeah, and I think he's good. I think
He's good to go for the rest of the season. Yeah, until he's hurt again, he's fine.
But yeah, I hate that we have to end the week on this game because this one's just poop.
Well,
No,
make
it's
sure
not
to
poop. Tulsi Rose Tea.
Hey, there we go. Get your tea needs at TulsiRoseTea.com. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any questions on start sits, things like that, leave some comments below. We'll make sure to answer them. We're also doing a live show this Sunday. It's going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to start it at 12:30. I have a conflict, but we will be live from 12:30 until game time to give you guys all the info.
Is that conflict apple picking? You going with
I was about to say, are we going apple picking?
There was some sort of, fall
Are you going apple
flavored
picking,
apple
I'm
picking.
going apple picking. Hell yeah. What am I tall for?
Peace out.
Off a tree.
Are you bringing the
And
kiddos?
to apple picking.
Chill, boy.
Bye.